My dorm room was $20 a month. My food for the month was $20. I had $60 a month. I was rich, okay? But I had to take that chance because everybody told me that I wouldn't survive, but I did. Yes.
Thank you.
Yes.
Good morning, Dr. Diallo. After all of your endeavors and the things that you have experienced, if there was one thing that you could change, what would you do differently?
The one thing I probably would change is after I graduated from college, I applied to be a Peace Corps volunteer, and I was accepted. But everybody told me, you're too poor to be a volunteer. You need to find a job, or you need to go to graduate school. And I would have been sent to India, and I didn't do it because I was told that I should stay and go to school. That's the one thing that I really regret not doing.
Thank you.
Dr. Diallo, my question for you is, how are you received by the students at UGA?
Oh, some students were very nice. James Black, he lives in Valdosta, Georgia. He was extremely nice to me. He helped me to navigate the foreign language department. Okay, there was another guy, and I can't remember his last name, was Jim. Jim was very nice, and he also was in the foreign language department. And there were other students who were very hostile, you know, who wouldn't talk to me. And even to this day, I am not quick to sit beside someone. Okay, because of that experience. In the dorms, we had the students were very nice. We used to listen to records together and dance to, you know, rock and roll at the time. So generally, the students sort of just ignored me, and there were only a few who were really hostile. Mm-hmm.
Thank you.
Mm-hmm.
Good afternoon, Dr. Diallo. You are truly an inspiring person. I am glad that I was here this afternoon to actually hear this. And my question is, how many other African American women were selected to attend the school while you were there?
While I was there, I don't know. But remember, 4 African American women applied at the same time from my high school. 4 of them applied. I was the only one who received that famous letter, okay? But if you read my article that I wrote for the University of Georgia Alumni Magazine, this is what I contend. They were as qualified, if not more qualified, than I was. But the system just decided that they would only admit 1. Later, 2 of them graduated from Georgia. They received graduate degrees from the University of Georgia. Yes.
Thank you.
Mm-hmm.
I'd like to congratulate you, first of all, for your accomplishments, Dr. Diallo. My question is, what proportion of your faith do you believe was responsible for your accomplishments?
What portion? Okay.
Mm-hmm.
I guess most of it. I grew up as a Seventh-day Adventist. Okay. And
that's what I am also.
And Seventh-day Adventists emphasize education, but they also emphasize that what is for you, and you have to do the right thing. And there is a sense of what is right that I've always had. There's a sense, a moral sense that I try to do the right thing. I try to treat people right, and I think that in the end, positive things come out of that. But I think my faith is very strong, and
I guess what I'm saying is, do you feel that God is the reason that you are able to accomplish the things that you've accomplished?
Yes, definitely, definitely.
Glad to hear that.
Yes.
Thank you.
Okay.
You talked about the way the students treated you, the way some of the teachers were there for you and some were not. How did the community receive you?
I was from Athens, so I got so much support that we used to joke that my last name was, she goes to the University of Georgia, because every time I was introduced somebody with it, this is Mary, she goes to the University of Georgia. So the community was very proud after they were able to really talk about it. And let me just tell you, as I said, our high school principal told the teachers they were not to speak about it at all. And then one day I took tennis at Georgia, and I went to the sporting goods store to buy a tennis racket. And so the owner said, "Why are you buying a tennis racket? Can you imagine a black boy?" Okay. And so I said to him, "I'm taking a class at the University of Georgia." And he was like, "What?" And I'm from Athens, and he's like, "Why don't I know that? I'm on the board. I'm on the school board. Why don't I know that?" And I told him I didn't know. So he called my principal, congratulated him, and at that point, then everybody felt relieved. They could really talk about it.
So it was, even though it's a bigger community, it's small, kind of like this one, so you had everybody's.
I had the support of everybody in my community, yes.
Okay, thank you.
Good afternoon, Dr. Diallo. Thank you so much for coming and inspiring us. We really appreciate it. Could you speak to your study abroad experience and the ways in which studying abroad in France shaped your ideas of what it means to be a woman, or expanded your ideas of what it means to be a woman, or even a global citizen of the world, like some tangible benefits that you received from studying abroad in France? How did studying abroad in France sort of shape your idea of what it means to be a woman or a global citizen? Or could you give us some tangible examples of how it broadened your cultural perspective studying abroad in France? Thank you.
Oh God, that's a... Well, you've heard the cliche, it changed your life. But for me, it changed my life. I came from Athens, Georgia, and I went to Paris, France. Okay? And I tell my students that the one thing that I learned and that I came away was that in France, I learned the joy of learning. The university was a place where people talked about ideas, where they discussed, debated. We didn't talk about clothes or cars, or everybody was trying to read the other person. So there was a certain joy. But I also became much more tolerant. What I learned was that oppression is not a black and a white thing. I learned that people oppress, that's human nature. Okay, and I remember I had a very good friend who was from Africa, and we were talking, and she was telling me about, because she had money, and she was telling me about the servants in her house, and I said to her, "Well, do you ever sit down and talk to your servants?" And she was like, "Are you crazy?" No. So then I realized that, you know, you're always going to have the oppressors and the oppressed, and we have to work to try to change that. Okay, and later I went to Africa, and that same servant that she wouldn't speak to, I helped her to change, and now she's treating her like a daughter. Okay, yeah.
Okay, your last statement kind of answers my question. My question is, are there specific, people that you mentor? Are there people that gravitate towards you and, that become, empowered by your, on a personal level?
Yes, I do teach French at Florida A&M, but I'm also the advisor for the Golden Key Honor Society. And I take a special, my students, I'm one of those aggressive teachers. You didn't come to class today. Why? Were you in the hospital? Okay. Okay, you need to explain to me why you were not in my class. Okay. You came in late. Oh, yeah, but the parking was, I couldn't find parking. Oh, really? Then you need to come an hour earlier. So I do mentor my students, and I care a great deal about them.
But do you have that, one or two students that you can't, get rid of, or?
I always have those students, okay? They're always in my office, okay? Yeah.
Hi, good afternoon, Doctor. My question for you is, for students in general, for those who have set their goals but don't have the support that they need when they're attending school, what kind of advice would you give to them?
find a mentor, and I would suggest that you read The Outlier too, okay? Your university, there are professors here who will help you, but you need to go to them and ask for that help. Okay, that's why we're here. That's why we chose this field. We didn't choose it because we're going to make a lot of money. But I say to students, find someone on campus who will help you navigate the system, okay, who will help you. For example, I had no idea how I would get to France, but Mr. Blofeld, I told him, and he said, oh, I know someone at the UN who is a French lady. I will speak to her about it. And then she told him to tell me to apply for a scholarship that the French government had. I would never have known that. And it was so unusual when I went to France and they would say, and the word for scholars, that you have a scholarship is you're boursière. And everybody would say, they were in shock. Here's this black American woman who's a boursière of the French government. But you have to have people who have been there, who have done what you've tried to do, and get them to help you. Okay?
Thank you.
Yes, and I just want to speak again to the study abroad. I went to Paris and I worked. I worked for a shipping company. And I tell my friends that I learned more French there than I learned in the classroom. I was a secretary, and I had to take dictation. I taught myself speed writing. But it helped me so much when I came back to the U.S. and started studying at Emory University. And then I went to Africa. I participated in the teacher exchange program. And the professor in Benin, he went to FAMU and taught French, and I went to his university and taught business English. What I saw, I was the only female in the English department. That was a bit shocking. Then but I tried to work with everybody, and whatever they told me to do, I did it. So the next year, another African-American woman went to the same university, to the same department, and then she called me. She said, they keep telling me I'm not like Mary. Because she would not do all of that work. But I was trying to build relationships to show people that we are all the same. And I talked to them, so I was able to talk to them and talk about where are the women, why aren't you promoting more of the women, okay? But, and then my next time I went to France in 2000, 2001, and I participated in another exchange program because I had a friend in Paris who couldn't find anyone to do the exchange with her, and so the government, the French, allowed the two of us to do the exchange. And it's very interesting because I was teaching this class, and I had all these ideas, and I was coming to class with different books, so one of the students, they came to me after class and they said, you know, we really appreciate all of the things that you're doing, but we need to pass the bac. And if you know anything about French culture, the bac is a high school diploma that they have to pass. And once they pass that, they can go to the university. So it's their equivalent of our SAT, okay? And he was more, and so I had to change my focus. And I've just learned so much by interacting with people of other cultures. And I've become a much more tolerant person. And I think it made me a much more caring person also.
Thank you, Dr. Diallo, for your presentation, for enlightening us with your presentation. Dr. Diallo, here is a token of our appreciation for you coming to see us today. And thank you so much. Now, this concludes our program, and thank you all for coming. Thank you. I gotta pee.